Alrighty, everyone. Thank you all for coming down tonight. We all greatly appreciate your time. It's good to see citizens of Westfield coming out on a hot topic. My name is Patrick Berry. I'm here to moderate the evening. Thank you to City Councilors Fannin and Oniski for inviting me. I greatly appreciate you asking me to do this. We would also like to thank the folks from Community Resources for Justice. All their representatives are over here. There's a few over in the front row over there. Any city and state officials who are here, principals of our local schools, thank you all for being here, and especially to Ward 1 City Councilor Karen Fannin and Ward 6 City Councilor Bill Oniski for organizing this important discussion this evening. Thank you both. The whole point of tonight is to hear a presentation from our folks, from the folks at Community Resources for Justice relative to the proposed reentry facility just down the road at 182 and 184 Southampton Road. For those of you unfamiliar, a reentry facility is a residential program designed to help people who are leaving jail or prison transition back into the community safely and successfully. They provide structured housing, job training, counseling, education, substance use treatment, and life skills, and a whole lot more that they will get into in just a few moments. Can everybody hear me fine? Yes. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so just a few ground rules. Once they are done doing their presentation, there will be some comments from certain people in the room. Then we'll go to questions, and then there will be a time at the end to go through questions that you may have. What I will do is I will grab this microphone. If you have a question, if you're on this side, line up on the carpet in that aisle. If you're on that side, line up on the carpet on that aisle. I will be running back and forth with the microphone. We only have this room until 7:30, so it's questions only. We can't, no long-winded opinions, just questions so we can get to everybody who has one, okay? All right, so without further ado, I want to bring up to the microphone Ward 1 City Councilor Karen Fannin.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Thank you to our city officials, our state officials, our principals, and our Community Resource for Justice representatives for participating in this public meeting. I want to begin by acknowledging the organization's commitment to rehabilitation, reintegration. I understand and respect the mission and philosophy behind these programs. However, I must express my serious concerns on behalf of my constituents in Ward 1, as well as families across Westfield. The proposed location is just 1,000 feet from Southampton Road Elementary School that serves grades K through 4, and 2,000 feet from Westfield Intermediate School that serves grades 5 and 6, which draws students from the whole city, and also a Westfield Housing Authority housing facility that has children. This is not just a Ward 1 issue, it affects families citywide. I understand that legally the project may proceed because this type of program is classified as an educational use under the Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 3, the Dover Amendment, as well as our local zoning ordinance, Section 4-140. The city planner will speak more about this later. Since the use is permissible at this location without any approval from City Council or the Planning Board, it is essential that we focus on how this facility can coexist safely and responsibly within our neighborhood. While I would have preferred a location farther from schools and residential neighborhoods, the law does allow this use here. Given that reality, we must work together to ensure this facility operates in a safe, transparent, and respectful way surrounding our community. Therefore, I ask anyone who has any conditions or suggestions that they would like the CRJ to consider, please ask them during the question period of this meeting. I understand the anxiety and the uncertainty many of you are feeling. That is precisely why we called this meeting. We invited the Community Resources for Justice to come here so that we all could get the answers to the questions that we have. As your city councilor, I will continue to advocate for transparency, safety, and accountability throughout this whole process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fannin. Next up is Ward 6 City Councilor Bill Oniski.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for all coming out. It's good to see the community coming together. Unfortunately, it's for something like this, but it's still good to see everybody here. While I support what I know about the mission of CRJ Community Resource for Justice, I really don't think a worse location could have been selected. Westfield Intermediate School and Southampton Road School are near the site. There's also Colonial Pine Acres, which is right down the street. It's a housing complex, an apartment complex that the Westfield Housing Authority operates, 62 units, and it's the only family housing that Westfield Housing Authority provides. Young students will have to walk past this facility twice a day. During the summer, they'll be going to the playground. Really, if not for the efforts of Ward 1 City Councilor Karen Fannion, CRJ may not have been presenting at all. So for the residents of Westfield, the students and parents, I think we deserve a little more. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oniski. Next up, we would like to, as Councilor Fannion alluded to a moment ago, the zoning for this facility is what it is. So I would like to invite up Jay Vinsky. He is the city planner, to give an overview of Mass General Law and the zoning relative to the proposed facility. Jay?
Okay, so not to get too far into the weeds, but generally municipalities, cities and towns have a wide latitude to regulate land uses as they see fit. The business A zone out here, for example, a restaurant can go in without the city saying you can't, but a gas station or auto repair would require, a gas station or an auto repair may require a city council or a planning board special permit. So there's discretionary uses that the city can allow or not allow, and there are certain by right uses that we can't say no to, but can regulate in some respects. Among those are religious and educational uses. So a school and church can go basically anywhere in the city without it being prohibited locally. And that stems from state law, Mass Zoning Act, something known as the Dover Amendment, which says statewide religious and educational facilities can go anywhere, and they're only subject to reasonable regulation. For example, if you're building a new school, it's going to fit in with setbacks and parking requirements and things like that in the zoning. This particular facility is classified, apparently, as an educational use.
I still can't hear you. It needs to
Is
be
this-
turned up.
All right, I'll get closer. So this particular facility is classified as an educational use, as I understand it, and that stems from case law. So because it's primarily an educational use, it falls under the Dover Amendment exemption for religious and educational uses. And therefore, locally, there's nothing we can do from a regulatory standpoint to prohibit it or really regulate it, particularly as it's moving into an existing developed site. So they're not building anything new. It's not going to need to go to the planning board for any site plan approval. There's no discretionary local review. So that's the kind of gist of the zoning, how that may apply to this site. But in lieu of that, I think this is kind of an appropriate venue, as opposed to being a regulatory hearing before the planning board. It's kind of more of a community hearing before the applicants, where they'll get a chance to explain the project, respond to questions, perhaps, and consider and address them as they develop the project. But just that's the summary of why it's not something we can locally regulate.
Thank you, Mr. Vinsky. Just so you know, Mr. Vinsky, he needs to leave here shortly, so if there are any specific planning, zoning questions that you may have, and we have to limit it to zoning only, because we'll do more questions later. If you have something specific for zoning that Mr. Vinsky can answer, I will grab the microphone, just come up to the front on either side. Anyone?
I have a question. You said apparently it's an educational facility. What do you base that on? I don't even like it pop up.
Yeah, so I'm not an attorney, but case law, that is, it's gone through courts, I think it's.
And I understand the Dover Act. What told you they were an educational facility?
Well, I'm saying,
You can claim any education goes on in the facility.
Hold on.
they didn't tell me, so I'm not the planning board, not particularly involved in this, but the primary educational use is something, case law, which courts have said this would fall under. So that's judges' interpretations or jury interpretations, and that's how case law gets established. So it's not my determination, it's looking at, again, case law.
Jay, maybe a better clarification of the question is, did they present material to you that details who they are, what they do, so that they fall into that educational zoning?
Yeah, not specifically, because, wait.
No sense.
This doesn't rise to the level of the planning board or zoning board. It falls within the building department, who enforces the zoning ordinance. So they presented information to the building department, who's made the zoning interpretation. It doesn't rise to the level of planning board or zoning board. So I haven't been particularly involved with it. I mean, I know about it, obviously. But that determination was made by the building department.
Where are they?
Hi, when was the zoning decided upon? When was it put in place? And what is the process of getting it changed?
So, well, I mean, Westfield first enacted zoning in 1931, but this, it wouldn't matter what it was zoned, and we can't, again, state law says you have to allow religious and educational uses anywhere. So there's nothing locally Westfield or any community could do to prohibit an educational or religious use.
Is it not residential
Again, it's my understanding case law classifies this as education.
I understand that you're saying that case law is dictating and there's protection that this particular building does not have to fall under specific zoning regulations because it can be utilized, unilaterally for education and for religion. And you are saying that it's not under your purview to determine if their use is specifically falling underneath the category of religion and education. So then the question, I guess, for many of us, at least from me specifically, and probably for many people here, is who do we talk to about that? Because for many of us, I don't think that a residential facility, for many of us, falls underneath the unilateral use of religious or educational facility for this particular property and this particular use, because I think that they could say, respectfully, I believe in the program and I believe that the program could be beneficial to so many people. However, if we don't do everything to check the actual use of this property, the specific property, and find that the education is the primary reason, not that it is residential use, then who do we go to challenge that? Because you're saying that it can be utilized.
So the question is, who do the residents go to challenge and question the zoning laws?
Yeah, so again, the building department is the interpreter and enforcer of the zoning ordinance. Appeals can be made to any zoning decision if you disagree with it. But again,
Can you like further that how is that, how do those appeal? How do we say we disagree that is not how the zoning should be utilized, that is not for educational purposes? What is the process for us?
okay, well, not getting into details, but it would be an administrative appeal to some decision.
Want the specific details?
Respectfully, you said that it's not under you, so who is it under and how do we approach that? Because we would like to challenge it. I think most people in the room would like to challenge that this is not educational.
If it's court law, that it's an educational facility, that they're looked at as educational, the only way to challenge it is to take it up to court again or change the law at the state. So you're not gonna change it locally if the court has already decided that they're considered an educational.
Can we
Entity.
collectivize and form a petition?
Hold on.
I'm asking a question.
Keep going.
So anyway, you're asking how you change it, that's how you change it. If it's already set in law, you gotta either fight another lawsuit that'll try to change it again in court, or you change the law at the State House, which is what the courts follow. So that's the only way you're gonna change this.
I just will say, a lot of this would initiate locally by an appeal to the Zoning Board of Appeals on an interpretation of the zoning ordinance. So that's how it starts. If it works up its way to court, I'm certain the educational component would be affirmed. Again, it's established as case law.
But to be clear, you're saying
Hold on.
that was the facility itself.
Excuse me, no shouting, please.
He's not
There's no
shouting.
question over here.
I'm just clarifying because my question still wasn't answered, so.
My question is, what types of inmates and individuals will be housed here?
It has nothing to do with zoning.
Yes, but my question does relate to zoning, because if there are any individuals there who are on parole or within state custody, then it technically becomes a correctional facility, and that would change the zoning laws. It could be changed. So correctional facility is not allowed anywhere in residential areas. So,
We will let the folks from the organization explain the facility, and then you may ask that question.
okay, perfect, thanks.
From my understanding, this is under the purview, it's educational. What classes are you guys teaching?
He doesn't know that.
They'll do their presentation in a moment.
Okay, so there'll be daily classes.
Hi, gang. Maybe this will make it easier for you to hear me. You mentioned the building department. I am wondering whether or not the building department or the Department of Public Works has spoken up about the water supply to this building. The reason that I ask is because in the summer of 2024, we looked at that building to potentially put a laboratory in. And we were told that we would have to have our own water tank in the back if we wanted to have sprinklers or an eye wash station or a chemical shower, because the water to that building comes underneath Southampton Road from St. Mary's Cemetery. And in order to increase that supply, you would have to get the state involved in construction through 10 and 202. And so I don't understand why we got everybody all upset about something. If you can't have an eye wash station, you're not putting a dormitory there. Where's the water coming from? Thank you.
I'd like to know why that specific location was chosen.
That's not a zoning question. That's a question for them. Not a zoning question.
Let's move on to something other than zoning.
Oh, yeah. We will have plenty of time for non-zoning questions later. The only reason we're doing zoning right now is because Mr. Vinsky needs to go to another meeting. Any last zoning questions? Perfect. Thank you.
When Councilor Fanning asked me to be here, I said, just don't shoot the messenger.
Too late.
Thank you for not shooting.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, now the time has come for the presentation from the folks at Community Resources for Justice. To my immediate left is Deborah O'Brien. She has served as president of CRJ since 2020 and brings more than 30 years of leadership experience in health, human services, and community-based programs. She holds degrees in nursing and public administration from the University of Rhode Island. Her work has focused on improving safety, strengthening justice-involved services, and supporting individuals living with developmental disabilities, addiction, mental illness, or the challenges of reentry. Under her leadership, CRJ continues its longstanding mission of serving people in communities across the region. Deb has spent much of her career building partnerships, expanding evidence-based programs, and securing resources to support the individuals CRJ serves. She is also an active contributor in national and regional professional circles and has been recognized for her leadership within the field. To my far left is Ernie Goodnow. He has spent more than 30 years working directly in the criminal justice system with experience that spans law enforcement, reentry services, and community-based programming. His background includes over 2 decades in New Hampshire law enforcement, where he focused on investigative work, community policing, and efforts to reduce reoffending, experience that continues to inform his approach to public safety and accountability. Ernie currently serves on the International Community Justice Association Board. He has also served on several oversight and advisory bodies, including the State of New Hampshire's Judicial Conduct Committee, Southern New Hampshire University's Criminal Justice Advisory Board, and the Manchester, New Hampshire Police Athletic League, an organization that supports at-risk youth through sports and educational programs to help steer them away from criminal activity and gangs. He brings valuable real-world experience to discussions on ethics, training, and community expectations within the justice system. I will now pass it over to Deb and Ernie for their presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and to talk to you about our commitment to the safety, health, and future of Westfield. I want to thank City Councilors Fanyan and Omiski for organizing this meeting. As the moderator has said, I'm Deb O'Brien, and I have been working at Community Resources for Justice for quite a while. We are a nonprofit organization based in Boston with a 147-year history of strengthening lives and communities through evidence-based services, advocacy, and reform. I know the #1 question on everyone's minds has been about sex offenders. There will be no sex offenders in this program. So CRJ is a $93 million Boston-based organization. We operate nationally. We have 4 distinct service lines. We provide behavioral health services in Connecticut, and we offer domestic violence and education and treatment there. We do mentoring with youth and other adults in the prison systems. We do community reentry support there, mental health and substance abuse services. We also have our Crime and Justice Institute. It's a nationally recognized policy and implementation team that helps jurisdictions across the country improve their adult and youth criminal justice systems through data-driven solutions. They also maintain the widely used Coming Home Directory of reentry services for Massachusetts. We also provide disability services. We have group homes and day programming for adults with intellectual disabilities. We operate 43 group homes here in Massachusetts and a day program and 4 group homes in New Hampshire. They're all focused on helping individuals live as independently as possible. Our reentry services operates federal and state-funded residential programs, including Coolidge House in Boston, the oldest continuously operating federal reentry program in the country for over 50 years, as well as programs in Buffalo, New York, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and Manchester, New Hampshire. We also have services in several communities across Massachusetts, including here in Western Mass. Across all our programs, our mission is simple and powerful: change lives and strengthen communities. I want to be clear and comprehensive as we talk about who will be at this site, what the program is and is not, who it will serve, how it will operate. I know we've talked about the Dover Amendment, and there were questions about education, what education we provide, and I will explain what the law provides for it and what we do. We chose this site. We've been operating in West Springfield in an interim location since 2021. We've been looking since that time for properties across all the towns and cities here in the area. Our goal has been to secure a property that is already configured for supervised programming. It is close to public transit, employers, healthcare, and essential services. It can operate indoors without the need for any external building. We will do some cosmetic work on the outside of the building, and there's renderings up top as you come into the building that we've placed up there for you to look at. Our architect's plan involves an interior-only build-out, which includes resident rooms, staff offices, kitchen and dining areas, laundry facilities, lounges, and meeting rooms. The property is approximately 8,400 square feet and will serve up to 34 men and up to 6 women in the facility. These are people who have been released from jail or prison and are returning home to their communities and choose to come to this program. Massachusetts law protects nonprofit educational use of land, as Jay Vinsky pointed out, for educational and religious uses. The courts view education as any process that helps develop knowledge, skills, abilities, or positive qualities that prepare people for meaningful participation in life and work. Education is not limited to academic subjects. It includes personal development, practical skills, rehabilitation, and programs aimed at improving mental, physical, and moral well-being. This broad definition has guided the court's decision for more than a century. This legal framework is central to CRJ's mission. Incarceration, as we know, is costly, and the community reentry process protects that investment by helping people successfully return home. Without housing, employment, and support, people cycle back into incarceration. Massachusetts has taken important steps by building a transparent, statewide cross-tracking recidivism dashboard that allows the public to see outcomes clearly. The data show that statewide, a significant share of individuals avoid returning to custody when they receive structured reentry supports. Closer to home, here in Hampden County, the Sheriff's Office has long been a national leader in this work. Sheriff Michael Ash was the first in the country to establish formal reentry programming, and for over 30 years, he continues to work with CRJ to strengthen and expand that commitment. This foundation of statewide transparency and local leadership directly supports the work we carry out each day at our community residential reentry facility. We provide comprehensive educational, rehabilitative, and vocational programming that helps the formerly incarcerated individuals transition successfully back into the community. Guided by our mission to promote public safety through services rooted in accountability, dignity, and opportunity, we help residents build the skills and stability necessary for long-term success. By connecting individuals with employment, housing, substance use treatment, mental health treatment, and other essential resources, our programs reduce recidivism and reinforce the very factors that Massachusetts has identified as critical to stopping the cycle of incarceration. We deliver our mission through structured skill-building programs that prepare our residents for independent and productive living. Our curriculum covers essential life and community skills, health education, and job readiness. Residents learn how to manage daily responsibilities, access health care and treatment, and secure and maintain employment. Once they have employment, they are required to save at least half of their salary each week so that they can have a nest egg to find stable housing when they leave. These supports create a strong foundation for successful reentry and contribute to safer, healthier communities. People were asking why they weren't informed sooner. The Dover Amendment makes the use as of right under local zoning. The city cannot require a special permit or public hearing for CRJ to operate a nonprofit educational program in the existing building. And we understand that community engagement matters even when the law doesn't require it. That's why we're here now, before operations begin, to answer your questions and to commit to ongoing engagement. Again, I want to reiterate, this program will not house registered sex offenders of any type.
Can you promise us
I'm
that?
almost done. Our program centers on accountability, again, dignity and opportunity. The people we serve are already members of our community. Their husbands, their wives, their sons, their daughters, their siblings, their neighbors, their co-workers, who are returning to their homes across Western Mass and the cities here. Our responsibility is to give them the structure and support they need to succeed. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Goodnow, who will walk you through the safety and accountability protocols we've established and we use in all our programs, whether they're federal or state, and then we'll take questions.
Good evening. Excuse me. Can everyone hear now in the back and all that? Okay. Please bear with me. I have a sinus thing I haven't been able to get rid of in over 2 months here. I'm Ernie Goodnow, the Vice President of Reentry Services for CRJ, and next to me is Joe Jarvis, our Regional Director, overseeing some of our residential programs. As we described, we have multiple residential programs throughout the New England area and the state of New York. And these programs are in all different types of locations, with residences, all types of businesses, schools, everything are all in those areas. And throughout the years that we've been doing this, we haven't had incidents with our immediate neighbors in our areas in which our programs are located. We have a sincere track history in that. We are committed to the communities in which we work sincerely. And we want the best for the community. And we also feel too, is that if we can make a serious impact on recidivism, it improves our communities as well. And conducting what we do is, it's hard to comprehend and understand, but in many areas, like we've gone through this in many other locations where people didn't want us, thought we would be an issue to their community, and actually and in many of these cases, in all of them actually, we haven't had, after we've been operating, we've actually got support from these people for what we do and how we operate and how much improvement we've placed in the community. And we don't want to beguile you that we're the best thing since sliced bread. No, we're not. We work hard, and we're working hard for everyone's best interest. And I'm going to give you a structure or go over how our operations work so you understand about the strict security that we do have in the areas that we work in. And as Deb mentioned, about 95%, I think, of the people that we work with are already out in the communities. And they come to us for special services, adjustments, and we work closely with Massachusetts Probation, Parole, and the Department of Corrections to provide the right guidance to get people onto the right track or to help them with their needs so they are not a burden to the community. Now, our staffing structure, we are staffed 24/7, 365 days a year. We never close. We're always operating. We have a minimum of 2 workers dedicated to just program security. So what I mean by program security is not just making sure our doors are locked. It's making sure that we know where every resident of our program is at all times, be it inside or outside the program. And making sure that our operations are going completely. And we also have a case management team. We have a couple case managers that work with our residents and to help them develop goals, individual program plans, and do a variety of assessments with them, and work with them on a regular basis to help build their lives and where they want to go and see where they're headed. Are they going in the right direction? Are they doing the right things? Do they need to maybe be diverted? Are there other programs or situations that might be helpful for them? So the case managers work diligently with these residents to help keep them in the right path. And also to work with us. For residents that don't comply with the program, they may be asked to leave, and we'll work with probation parole to do that, because we don't want people that aren't gonna be here.
We don't want.
Okay? So, excuse me, please.
We still can't hear you.
Okay, but please let me speak. Okay? I'll listen to everybody. How about now? All right, thank you. Okay. We also have a management team at the program, a program director, assistant program director, that oversee all the operations and ensure that all our staff are doing what they're required to be doing, and making sure that we're in contract compliance with our compliance with the state of Massachusetts probation, and also to work with local people and in any kind of local entities and services that may be beneficial to us and may be helpful to us as we operate our program. And we also have an on-call system, so when it's not normal business hours, we have a whole branch of people that are on call, so staff can reach us and address if there's an issue or different protocols need to be followed, and so people can be contacted at all times. We're also, in the renovations, we're gonna be putting in a very high-tech security system, and with alarms. People can't just open doors, walk in and out. In this program, it's not like a regular home, like you can just walk in and out and go where you want to go. Residents that are in this program have to meet with their case managers. They develop plans on where they want to be. They have to submit itineraries days in advance of where they're going to go. What time are they going to go there? How are they getting there? What time are they leaving there? Where's their next stop? And this is all developed, and then it's pre-approved, okay? And then while they're out, we're making constant checks to confirm locations and to see where they are. And so accountability is everything. Residents that don't comply with call-in times or returning times, we have procedures set up in place to effectively locate them and find out what's going on. Now, as I said, we have security cameras. Will be approximately about 35 different cameras throughout this location, interior and exterior. And we also have a track history of every location that we have where local law enforcement has utilized our exterior security cameras to assist them with other incidences that have occurred in the community, not related to our programs, but in those areas. And we are committed to work with law enforcement on that. Very much so. And our staff maintains rounds throughout the facility, constantly, day in, day out, interior and exterior, checking the entire place, making sure that people are where they're supposed to be, and that everything is fully operational and running correctly. Accountability is everything. We need to know where our people are at all times. We need to know where they're going, what they're doing, and how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. And our people aren't going to just, when they're here, they're going to be going to places where they live normally. So someone may have a job, we'll say in Holyoke, but they'll be staying with us. They're going to go to work in Holyoke and come back. And we're going to know what time they leave. They're allotted certain times so they can't wander. Some are tracked, and we'll find them, and then they come back to our programs. It's not specific just for Westfield. So I want to make that very clear. We're not taking people and then saying, here, you're going to stay right here in Westfield. No, this is our location where we're working from, but they're going to be going to their regular communities. And we're here to support and help them to find the right places that they need to be and receive the proper counseling that they may need, gainful employment, suitable housing, teach them basic life skills, setting up bank accounts, areas that may come easy for you or I, but are a struggle for them, because they haven't had that kind of structured discipline in order to do that. And we provide that structured discipline. And as I said earlier, if people aren't going to comply with our program and program rules, then it's not the right facility for them. And then we work with probation parole or Department of Corrections, and they are placed somewhere else, but they're not going to stay in this community. Yeah. Okay. Now, also too, we have strict hours, there are curfews, our people aren't gonna be sitting out front. We're gonna have fenced-in rear areas. They're not allowed to be hanging around. They can't just say, oh, I'm gonna go over to walk around the cemetery. That's not allowed. They're in our facility. Any kind of movement is monitored and it is pre-approved. And anytime someone leaves our building and comes back in, even if it's they had to go, I don't know, I'm speaking hypothetically here for a second. If they had to go to Dunkin', there's a Dunkin' Donuts over there. So we're not gonna say go to Dunkin's and come back for coffee. I'm just speaking hypothetically. If they were to go there and come back, they're only gone for 2 minutes. Doesn't matter. You're gone for 2 minutes. You're gonna have to take a breathalyzer test to make sure you haven't been consuming any type of alcoholic beverages. You're gonna have to be subject to a pat, frisk, search, and metal detector warning to make sure you're not bringing in any contraband. All your bags, jackets, everything is searched properly. You can't, there's no smoking. It's run very strict in what we do. We conduct drug tests on everyone on a regular basis. And should we find anyone that is in violation of that, we work with the local authorities and probation parole on the next steps for that. And that's pretty much how our operation works here. Yeah, and we do offer some, I'm sorry. In any of our residents that have a history of substance abuse, we do get them into counseling within their first week of being with us. Or if they already have counseling, we make sure that they maintain it. And we set up counseling so when they leave, that counseling is continued. It's not just while they're with us. So wherever they're going afterwards, they'll have counseling services available to them. And we have also too, we have our own in-house counseling that works with our residents in multiple settings as well within the program.
Anyone else from your group wish to speak? Okay. Well, thank you both for the presentation. We do have a few preset questions before we get to questions from the crowd. How are the residents chosen to come to this facility?
So we work with our referring authorities, which I'm sorry, I forgot to read that part. Hold on. The referring authorities are probation and parole, the houses of correction, and the Department of Corrections. And we work together with them. They refer people to us through the parole board. They screen and refer residents based on risk, needs, legal status, and any other conditions set by the court or the parole board.
Where do they come from? Are these people from Hampden, Hampshire County, across the state of Massachusetts, New England, the country?
The majority of clients are returning to this community from prison or jail within the state of Massachusetts.
And when folks, please hang on, please hang.
Follow up on that one. Are we talking Hampden, Hampshire County, or are we talking people from Bridgewater, Franklin, somewhere out there, also coming back to this community on this side of the funnel?
These are people, I can't say where they've been arrested. They might have ended up in a prison system somewhere else in the state, but they are from this area and want to return to this area where they have lived or grown up.
Our goals are to try to help them to reacclimate back to the areas that they belong and from. We're not
Back to where they committed the crimes.
They're gonna be back anyway, right? So, but now, so we're not, what we don't do, or we try not to do, like I can't say forever, we're not saying, okay, this person's from Boston or whatever, we're gonna keep them over here and then send them out into Springfield. That's not our goals. Our goals are to work with the people that are in these communities, in these towns, in this area, with probation, parole in this area, because we have services in the other parts of the state to do this. And this is why we're here for this part of the state. Okay?
The next question is, how long are the residents typically in the program, and is this a mandatory program or a volunteer program?
On average, 3 to 6 months. You could get someone that could be here longer depending upon the needs or the struggles that they may have. Some that may only be here sooner. Are residents able to say, no, I don't want to do this and walk out? Sure, they can do that, but then they have to answer to probation, parole, and whatever happens from that aspect. So it's an agreement to come to the program, abide by the program, follow the program, complete it successfully, then go on to your next phase.
Are we going to be given like the outline of the program or anything like that?
That's my next question. For transparency, could a report be developed monthly relative to how many residents were served, the success of the month, or any negatives of the month, including any police incident reports that may have dealt with the facility or with any particular resident?
We will be setting up a community advisory board. We have those in the communities that we work in, so as we get closer to the program, we'll be asking for people to join us on that board. Usually it includes law enforcement, other community people, so we look forward to having the opportunity to do that, and that's where that would be discussed.
Will the information be available on your website? And my question is, how do folks get in touch with you if they have follow-up questions from here, they want to be part of the advisory board, or just want more information?
It's President O'Brien at crj.org, that's me, and I will...
Sorry, it's President Deb O'Brien.
Oh, sorry, President Deb O'Brien at crj.org.
All right, and the last question that we have is, will the residents of the facility be wearing ankle bracelets? Bracelets, I guess.
There are some residents that are under electronic monitoring. That is done through the Massachusetts Parole or Probation Department, it's not through us.
Very good. All right, so if anyone has a question, please respect the process. We have two aisles, one aisle on each side. Please, hold on. Excuse me. Hold on. If you have a question, well, get in line and ask the follow-up question. Have some respect for all of us here. All right, so I will be walking back and forth with the microphone. Please get in line. I will do my best. You have a minute, basically, to ask your question. Questions only, no ongoing comments and concerns.
First of all, thank you, Patrick, for doing this. I appreciate that. So, as you know, I'm State Representative Kelly Pease, and I don't think this is obviously the best location for this. I do like some of the protocols that he discussed that are in place in some of the other communities they had. And if anybody has any questions for me, because I do have to go pick up my son very soon, then please follow up with me. But my question to you folks are, what is the timeline for when this is going to be up and running?
The plan is for us to move into the facility by the end of April.
My question is, it sounds like there's not a lot that residents can do. So my question, I guess, is, you said that there are no violent sex offenders. My question is, are there any violent criminals that will be housed in this location? For example, there is a difference between somebody convicted of manslaughter and somebody convicted of murder one. There is a difference between somebody who, has been in jail because they have been doing drugs and intend to distribute with, mass deaths. There's a difference between the violence in those. So I'm wondering if there is some other limitations or criteria that are with this housing other than there's no sex offenders. The second part of that is, you mentioned, one of you gentlemen in the end mentioned that the average stay was 3 to 6 months. So what factors may or may not expedite that, and what factors may extend that beyond a time that would be reasonable?
Okay. Now, it's offenders of all levels and that have been released already from prison. Okay, so it's offenders of all levels. And with the 3 to 6 months, what could be determined there is have they reached the goals that they needed and the reason why they were there. So some may only need a few services and they're able to achieve it, they've accomplished it, and then they go. The longer they stay, it doesn't make it any better. When they say someone came to us not because they were a problem in the community, maybe they needed a job, and housing is their big issue. If they're just left on the street, they're going to resort right back to criminal activity. They'll come to us and we help them find gainful employment, suitable housing when they've achieved what they have. And we work with probation, parole, and DOC, and everyone agrees that that person's good to go, then they'll be able to go on their own.
Is there a cutoff and a limit to that? I mean, someone, 18 months, you're like, hey, kind of move on and grow out of this facility?
Oh, yeah, no, our goal is to get people through the program and not linger there. And most people want to go, they don't want to be there. We're going for specific goals and achievements, and we work with them to get that. People aren't coming in just lounging around. And that's why we have such great success with employers. Employers like it because the people that they're employing have a different set of supervisors with them. They know they're not out drinking, they're not doing drugs, and we make sure that they go to work and that they go home afterwards, and we know where they are, and we even communicate with their employers on a regular basis to track how they're doing at work and what they're doing. And so, no, it's to their advantage to accomplish their needs and get out of the program.
So I know that you had mentioned that some of these members are on ankle bracelets. How other ways are you monitoring these people outside of the program and when they're going to work? Is it a phone call? Are they GPS monitored? How are you monitoring them outside?
Multiple ways. So there are some that are on GPS location. People are required, they're given start times and end times of where they need to be. And like if they're going to work, they call us from a phone at work so we can verify their location. We'll even call their work to make sure that they're there. We may even send staff out and watch and make sure that people are where they need to be, should we feel that there might be an issue. So there's multiple ways that we're able to do that.
Are they getting transported by staff or they are getting public transportation?
Nope, some public transportation, very few may have a car, but that's very strictly monitored too. And some employers will pick them up, a coworker will pick them up, things like that.
We have another question here.
Okay, I'm going to give you just a little history. I worked with all that group over there in community corrections before I retired as a police officer for 32 years. So I have some questions. Number one, Deb, anytime you write a grant, community is the first person you should have gone to and you should have spoke to, and none of you did So I speak on that because I did speak to our chief, and he said that nobody contacted him from your board. That should be the first.
Sue, what's the question, Sue?
The question is, who have you contacted?
We were in touch with the mayor and with reps.
And my second question I have to ask you is, who does your assessment? Because every program should have an assessment, and I could only find 2021 as your last assessment. So who's doing your assessments to see you're doing a good job? No self-assessments, I mean outside assessments.
We work closely with our referring agent, parole and probation. We've just had to resubmit our RFPs to have to re-up these programs. So they came out and assessed and looked at all the data that we submitted to them.
And plus, Massachusetts probation has a person dedicated to being in our facilities and checking on them all the time.
But
And
who
then
from
we
the
work.
police department that you're residing in, who have you contacted? Nobody.
That's not true.
Well, tell me who. I spoke to the chief, he said you
No,
had.
well, wait a minute. Right here, I haven't spoken to the chief here. No, in other communities, yes. If the police want to come in, we'll work with the police like we've done in every community.
Next question is coming right over here.
So I have the privilege of working at a facility that you described in your description of getting pat down, subject to search and seizure, locked behind doors. It sounds like a jail, not a school.
Exactly.
Secondly, if these guys are subjected to monitoring such like that, what are your plans when somebody absconds, doesn't return to the program? Are you going to contact the school? Are you going to contact the neighborhood? Because there's a neighborhood behind it and a neighborhood across. I'm under are you guys relocating from West Springfield? Is that the goal?
The hotel.
Because
Yes.
the current facility, I believe, is the Quality Inn, the whole entire first floor. And I spoke to West Springfield PD, and they said you guys don't really create much of an issue. You're probably the most secure facility over there because you're in a high crime area. That being said, Riverdale Road has a lot more opportunity than right outside of a school zone. And for those people waiting for a ride, I apologize. Yeah, the question is, why Westfield?
We found, I mentioned the criteria that we were looking for. We've looked in many other communities. This fit the bill for what we needed, and we were able to find a buyer for the property.
So there was a question a moment ago about who they contacted. City Councilor Fanning has a question, or an answer.
Thank you. Yes, the CRJ did contact me last September. We talked about this.
You never told us.
I'm giving you my answer. They did contact me. We had a very preliminary brief meeting. I immediately responded to them in an email saying that you absolutely have to get the word out. You have to notify parents. You have to notify the community. They emailed me back and they said they were hiring a public relations firm to take care of community outreach. I heard nothing from that point until a couple of weeks ago when I heard that there were renovations being done. And at that point, I reached back out to them. I assumed that they decided not to take that location. So they did contact me, and they did not do any community outreach. I just assumed they were not doing any. They did not follow through with that proposal. So yes, there was. They said that they would be doing community outreach from their a public relations department.
I will say, thank you, Karen. I will say that the owner of the property did not close until the end of December, and then finally was going after permits at the beginning of January. So it's not like we were trying to hide in plain sight. We were waiting for the proper pieces for the puzzle to fall together.
We have more questions on this side.
Okay, I live in Sunset Drive, right in the backyard of it. Is this going to be patrolled on the outside? Are we going to be safe? I walk my dog twice a night. Am I going to be hit in the back?
No.
Are these people going to get out? How bad are they? Are we going to know what they look like? Are we going to have pictures of these people so we could recognize them?
No, no.
No.
We're dedicated to the
So some
safety
guy
of the
walking down the
community.
street beside me, he gets out, and he's right there.
We have strict accountability procedures, and we have no track history of neighbors or anyone getting attacked by our people. We run a good program. You will be safe in your neighborhood.
This person is going to be put on the Westfield Police Force, it's going to be put on the state police, and our neighborhood.
You just heard the gentleman say that he heard from the West Springfield Police that we run a good, tight operation. And
In a high crime right place. In a high crime right place.
we do it in every neighborhood that we
What are you
operate.
gonna do if
We have
these
hold
guys
on.
abscond? What are you gonna do for our kids?
We have another
I
question.
live right here. I live here. I wanna know what's gonna happen if somebody gets loose.
We have a lot of people who have questions, so let's go right to the
They
next
didn't
one.
answer what I asked.
If there's an abscond, I'm not avoiding it, I'm more than happy to answer. If there's an abscond, we immediately contact Massachusetts probation parole officer, and then they take effective steps to go from there.
You have houses back here. You have neighborhoods. You have old elderly couples that have retired and live back here. How are they gonna know when someone shows up at their door with a cut off ankle bracelet banging on the door saying, "Let me in"? They're gonna have no heads up or anything. At least when I'm in corrections and we have an escape or something, we have to notify the public immediately.
So,
You're not telling us
so the question is, what's the notification
It's
process?
extremely rare you have an abscond from our facility. You'll have an abscond when somebody is out already away from the facility and never returned.
Yeah, and they don't return.
Okay.
They go in the parking lot late.
We have more questions here.
My question to you is, what is the difference between your West Springfield facility and the one you'll be having in Westfield? Because you started the meeting saying there'd be no level 3 sex offenders, but you currently in the last 8 months have had 2 residing in West Springfield.
And we were informed through Massachusetts probation that we will not put sex offenders at this location when we come. No, that's not, no. Because if they come here, they'll have to register. They'll No. We're gonna stick to our word.
It's our word with our referring partners, probation and parole. They have agreed that no one with a sex offense will come to this facility.
Yes, we mentioned that. We'll have an advisory board too. We can keep them up to date that there's no sex offenders in there. Absolutely.
We have questions here.
We can work with the local police.
Hi, I just need to know what went through your guys' head picking this location, being right next to an elementary school, right next to a middle school, right next to the community, living right next door, the bus stop's out front. How do I know my daughter at Southampton Road Elementary isn't going to be stopped outside at recess along with her friends? How do I know that they're not going to walk over and keep an eye on them and eye each one of which one is going to be maybe somebody they're going to potentially go after?
Please, let them answer the question first.
I do have an answer. The answer is the accountability protocols and the safety protocols that we put into place. The residents that live in our program, if they're not in our program, they will be living in your community. They are free from being in prison and jail.
But what are you in your head picking this building, thinking it's next to all of these elementary students, this is a perfect spot? Next to these, if your children went to that elementary school, would you be comfortable?
Yes.
No, you would not, because you're not going through this. You would not be comfortable, because I can tell you right now, you don't have a 5-year-old at the elementary school, like everybody else here.
You're right, I don't have a 5-year-old
Right,
now,
so
but I
you would not
have.
be comfortable doing that.
And I have done this work my entire career.
Please, let's offer some respect for the people with questions here in our panel.
Will there be like a certain amount of feet that these people have to be away from the school buildings? And if so, like once they're free into the community, will that ban be lifted?
They will have no access to the schools. That's not part of where their itinerary should bring them.
Should. And grab a kid. Excuse me, I have a question. We only have this building till 7:30.
Please, hold on. If you're not in line for a question, don't yell a question. If you're not in line, I will get to you. Relax.
My question is, if
Hold on, relax. You're taking this woman's time.
I have a procedural question. If I cannot ask my question, what happens next?
When you get to the
At
7:30, ask the question.
At 7:30, I'm still in line. What happens next?
Okay, so my question is, you guys stated you have various facilities across Massachusetts and also Connecticut. Is that correct, or is it
And
just
New York,
Mass?
not Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts.
Okay, and
New Hampshire.
where these are placed, have you had any of those other locations situated in such a distinct area and in close proximity to not only an elementary school that houses preschool, so not just kindergarten, right? Preschool? And middle school, or like 5th and 6th, which is kind of your gateway into drugs years. And then you also have Barnes, which is the DOD, on the other side. And then as Councilor Mello said, that there's a water issue there because there's not sufficient water and the whole road's going to have to be dug up. Have you guys dealt with this before? Are your places near these types of obstacles, and is really April a feasibility?
Yes, we do have programs near schools in other parts of the state.
Mayor, I checked every single site, and there is not one by elementary. There's one by university, but not by elementaries. There's a big difference.
And our New Bedford location is near a school.
Yes, it is.
We have
It's not a
other
university, it's an elementary school.
We have other questions on this side.
Taking into consideration that people that are in prison plead down quite a few charges before they actually do time. So how will you know really what your population is? And again, for this gentleman here, what's your plan? Are you going to notify the school? Are you going to notify Westfield if somebody does escape? Do we get notified immediately? Is there going to be a system? And will the school go into a lockdown?
We can work with the police chief on how he would like us to move forward with that. You have a lot of questions, I don't know if I can answer.
But the fact is, you talk about like, no, the referral process, you mentioned the referral things. The Massachusetts Department of Probation, working with Massachusetts Parole, gets all the information, all the facts, all the circumstances together, and then works with us, and they determine who should best fit in our facility, and then we review it with them, okay?
How you doing? I've worked at the Hampden County Sheriff's Department for over 26 years. I worked reentry with high-risk offenders under Sheriff Ash. Actually received some awards. So when I heard a week ago that this was coming into play here, I did a little research with some colleagues. I have serious concerns about the program proposed here. While it presents itself as a reentry provider, feedback from professionals in the field have been largely negative. Reports include ongoing drug use within the program, high staff turnover, a lack of direct assistance with employment and housing. In many cases, individuals still rely on the sheriff's office after incarceration support services in Springfield to go get their, I'm asking the question. They're still going there to receive their services because it's not being provided there. So most of the question is, how many residents from Westfield are the offenders? Are most of them from Springfield and Holyoke?
We don't have the demographics right now.
They're from all the
They're from all the towns, surrounding towns.
Have the residents been selected yet at this point? If you plan on opening in April, do you know who will be there at this point in time?
Not at
We
this
will
time.
work that with Massachusetts Probation.
We'll work with our referring authority.
Forensic over there.
I am currently a correction officer for the state of Connecticut for 18 years, and you know just as well as I do that these inmates will take any program, whether it's domestic violence, voices. They will go to the parole board, take as much of these classes as they can just to get out, and the parole board will, yeah, okay, you're good. They'll keep on taking classes to get over on the parole board. You said you've been doing it for 30-something years, so you know this. You know that
I know
this...
when they're inside, they have the opportunity to reduce their sentences through the
Yeah.
programs that they
Okay.
take. However, these are all people that have been released from prison and are coming into the community
And they laugh
to get
about
the
it because how
support.
easy it is to get over on that.
I can't speak to
So
the
my
referring authority
my
and how they
question
make
to
their
you is,
decisions.
how many other buildings throughout the state of Massachusetts have you gone that was a zone school just to get by going through getting licensing and permission through city council or the mayor's office?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean, how many? Oh, we use the Dover Amendment not only for the work that we do with reentry, but also for our developmentally and intellectually disabled group homes. So we've used it quite a bit. I have 43 group homes here and 4 in New Hampshire.
So you did, right, so you bought the specific buildings that you didn't have to go to get any,
It's not the building itself, it's the use of the building and what we're going to be putting in it.
So are you registered with the state as part of your license to do business as an educational program and facility?
The work that we do is rehabilitative and falls under the definition that the courts have used with the Dover Amendment.
So that allows you to go into properties that fall into the religious and educational zoning?
Yes, including our developmental disability group homes, which are in neighborhoods all over the state of Massachusetts.
The amount of security cameras that you have to put in this building blows my mind. To secure this building, which is few buildings away from 2 schools, in a clean state of mind, can you answer to me with yes or no how this makes sense to you? And if the answer is no, why is no?
The answer is yes, and we put those cameras in place so that everyone feels secure, and we know that we can monitor the perimeters and the rooms and what's happening within our location.
That makes sense to you.
Yes, that's what you asked.
Yes, but it doesn't make sense to people who have children down the road from your building that requires so many cameras to keep secure that place. And why do you have to have so many cameras to secure that place if it's also peachy as you're trying to present to all of us? Thank you.
All right. My question is, you mentioned that the facilities are secure, they're locked. Some individuals are going to be within state custody still. And there will be an individual from the Department of Parole monitoring the individuals at the facility, correct?
Yes, we meet with...
I want to specify something. When we say locked, we're not talking about people who are in rooms that are locked, not at all.
Well,
We're talking about
the
front door,
facility is
back door.
secure. You
Wait a
just
minute,
spoke
wait a
about
minute.
cameras.
I want to make sure that people understand that, please.
Okay.
Okay, it's not, you're locked in a room. People are free to move around inside. The front door and back doors are locked. So, okay, that's...
And alarm.
And alarm.
So just like that gentleman from
And that's why we have cameras everywhere, so we can make sure everyone's safe while they're inside the facility.
Right,
And
so-
people are in the right spot.
That to me sounds like a correctional facility, so yes it does, just like that gentleman from the DOC stated. So my question is, how were you able to get around that classification? And that to me sounds like a solid argument for the Zoning Board of Appeals to have this reclassified as a correctional facility.
I don't know how to...
Please hold, we have a question, people in line for questions. So, my question, since our state's so good at auditing, clearly, and I've called Kelly Pease on this a couple times and conveniently never gotten a call back, and he's now gone, go figure. Who audits you guys, and are your statistics of recidivism for all of your participants in your program publicly available, or are you just showing the good ones on the flyers?
No, they're all publicly available. There is a website that the state maintains for all the cities and towns in the Commonwealth.
Great, so who audits you?
We said we get audited regularly by the parole board and the people that come in to work with our clients on a regular basis.
Great, and real quick, I can just say for probably most people in the room, it's not that we don't want you, it's that we don't want you here, in this location.
Right. Thank you.
I'll piggyback on what he just said. I mean, it's quite clear you guys came here knowing you're going to take the slings and arrows, so to some degree I do appreciate you guys being here. However, it's a very callous decision of this group to look at that facility and say, yes, this is the right spot for this facility. I am sympathetic to those who deserve restorative justice. I am. The two things are not mutually exclusive. My kid's safety at that school does not have to come at the expense of those people living there, right? And I think both of those things can be true. So I have more of a proposal for you guys and for our city and our city council, okay? We should try, as a city, to buy you out of your lease, get you out of that location, and move you somewhere else within in the community. I think our city council should work with you guys to figure out what that number may look like, get you out of there, provide an expedited procedure which we can get them their permits and get them moving fast, and I think that's appropriate for us to do so. But you don't belong next to our schools. Our kids' safety is non-negotiable. Please remove yourself from that facility.
I heard you briefly, I hope I didn't miss it, but I heard you briefly say that there's no sex offenders. Could you kind of elaborate on other crimes that they're committed, they're being held there?
The parole and probation and parole board look at what these offenses are, and again...
That's not my question. Could you give me an example of some of...
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, they're going to refer the mass parole and probation will refer the individuals so that all types of crimes come through the doors.
So violent crimes included?
If they have served their time, yes, they would come through.
Okay, and who is actually held accountable if something goes south? Say, God forbid something happens to one of our children. Who gets the rap for that? Nobody?
Yeah, that would be probation, parole, ourselves, and the individual.
Thank you.
My question is regarding the children. I have a grandchildren, little boy, and a granddaughter, little girl. Both go to Southampton and the middle school. My question is, as parents, they're gonna know something's up. How are we supposed to explain to them what's going on? You put us in a position where we have to take our innocent little children and tell them about something that they shouldn't know about at all till they're adults. Explain that to me, please.
Well, I was going to say that I have grandchildren, I have a grandchild, and I have children, and I've taught them from the beginning about stranger danger and making sure that they know.
So just increase the strangers, right? Just make her a stranger.
They're not, there are, people will not be near the school.
Okay, hello again. So there's been a few questions that have been asked more than once, but they're not being answered. So now I'm a registered nurse, and I can absolutely appreciate, you know, what you're doing. Fair, okay. Again, what I do not appreciate is that next to a school, I have a son that has autism that goes to Southampton Road. My daughter goes to the intermediate school. What measures have you put into place already, since you're moving in April, right? What measures are put into place that is going to allow this neighborhood that I also live in on this road to know when something is wrong, when someone doesn't come back? I don't want, a phone call or no. How is the school going to be told about an incident that could affect ourselves and our children? I want an actual answer, not hypothetical, since you're already going in April. Answer.
We will work with the
No.
police chief to get
No.
a system in
No.
place.
Hold on, please.
I don't have an
You don't have an
automatic-
answer.
I don't have an automatic system like the school has that says someone's in a lockdown. We can certainly work together to do that. I'm
So
willing
you're
to do
moving in
that.
April into this facility with criminals, and you do not have anything in place when you're moving next to a school that is going to allow us to keep ourselves and our children safe. That's the exact answer, right?
The answer is we will work with you.
So the answer is yes. So they're moving in April, and they have absolutely no plan on how to identify and let residents that live in this neighborhood, parents that have children in this school, know what is going on. So thank you for answering that. That's absolutely insane.
We are very fortunate that we have a captain of the Westfield Police Force here with us tonight, Captain Dickinson.
Fortunate. Thank you. Chief couldn't be here tonight. He's at another meeting in the downtown area, but he asked me to come and represent him tonight in the Westfield Police Department. I will tell you that we were shocked. We found not too long ago, and I understand what the issues that you guys have just as much as we do. I can assure you that we are going to work with them. As soon as I found out, I made some phone calls. I don't know who I spoke with probably an hour long with all my questions. I will follow up with them. We will be on top of them, and we will get back to you. So if you don't know how to contact me, I work at the Westfield Police Department. You can contact me. Steve Dickinson, I'm a captain. I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. I will touch base with the city council. We will have another meeting after this to follow up with what we've done with them, working together to try to resolve some of these issues and questions and problems.
This is us reaching out to them. They've done nothing to reach out to our community to make us feel safe other than say we need to be here.
I understand, and we're going to do what we can to make you feel safe, because that's what we do. That's our job. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to take it personally that this is my job. I'm going to make sure that this happens so that we can assure you guys that things are going to be safe. I can assure you. I'm going to work with City Council to have another meeting down the road with you guys to let you know what we've come up with a plan, working with them to keep you guys safe. Trust me. Okay? What's that? I just found out a couple days ago, so I made my phone call. Trust me, I will be on it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
So I think it's great that you've projected to the people that you have rules and that people will go to work and you have somebody who follows up on them, but we all know that these people are in jail because they don't follow rules. That's for starters. So I think you better have a better plan than like, well, we know they're at work. But recidivism rate that I've seen is about 2 out of 3 are arrested within 3 years. What do you have to say with that? Like 2 out of 3 of your people. So if you have 30 people in there, 20 of them are going to be rearrested within 3 years.
We've reduced the recidivism rate by 1/3. Along with that. So.
Okay, but also your stats are flawed because when they're rearrested, you reset the clock on these people. So it's still, you make it a whole new crime. But the fact is, 2 out of 3 nationwide, locally, everything that I've come up with show that they're arrested within 3 years. So these people are in our, they're in your facility and they're being rearrested.
They're not in our facility, they're moving back into your communities.
Okay, and also I just want to say one more thing. I'm guessing that we're not going to see any of you here once this facility reopens because
That's not true. We come regularly.
But Deborah, you come off. I want the people of Westfield to know that she calls herself a nonprofit organization, but can you tell the people of Westfield what your salary is?
That's
it's over $450,000 a year, people.
All right, unfortunately, we need to be out of this school in 8 minutes, so please make your questions quick.
$450,000 a year.
Yes.
Because the location is not suitable for what we do. That was only a temporary setup, and we've been looking for 5 years to find. Yes, that is correct. We've had multiple deals trying to go through that have fallen apart because of, say, we find a location that's going to be good, and hypothetically the other person owns it, and we say, oh, okay, you can buy this for X amount of dollars. Oh, great, then, you know what, now we're going to triple the money. Or the reasons is because when we find something, or they used us to pit against other buyers, and we get outbid by somebody else. We've been going through this for a long time.
Nowhere else but next to school. In all businesses.
We're looking in Hampton County.
Were you aware that there was an elementary and intermediate school this close to the facility you're planning? Were you aware?
Yes.
Where is your moral compass?
I live on Sunset Drive, and your place is right behind the parking lot there. You got kids, you got school and everything. Now, I think it's wrong, and I've been here 35 years, and that's going to put a strain on our police department. Who should, if it's state funded, why don't the state police take care of it? Thank you.
I can't answer for the state. We have a contract that was put out. I can't. That's a question that's not for us. I'm sorry.
I have a couple questions. Quick one. Are any of the people that you serve have any PTSD problems that could be disturbed by the loud noises of the jet planes?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay, that doesn't make sense to me, but I expect you to answer it. You think you have none in your systems? Okay, second question is, well, I have no assurance that your policies you've outlined today can be enforced. I think they could change, just a drop of a hat. I don't see there any enforcement. And I think this is being ramrodded through. And I really appreciate the town council for explaining this well, because I think the only way we're going to stop this is through legal action. And so I pledge $1,000 towards a legal fund, and I'm just new to the community, so I hope that some community organizer will organize a legal fund to fight this legally. And who's your lawyer?
Ben Fierro's our lawyer.
Say it again?
Ben Fierro.
Ben Fierro? Where is he located?
Boston.
Boston.
You keep saying how safe this place is going to be, but a certain percentage of these people will reoffend. Can you guarantee to these parents that their children will be safe? Yes or no?
Yes. When they're in our program, yes.
Guaranteed they're safe.
You can't make that guarantee.
Hello. Since we are all for education and security, are you willing to personally fund security for our elementary schools in the local area?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. But you can fund criminals. You can't guarantee our kids' safety, but you can guarantee criminal safety and rehabilitation when you can't guarantee our kids' safety that have been here and live here.
Dan Alley, I'm one of the city councilors. My question is one of public safety. How are you going to get an occupancy permit for, whether it's 32, 40 people, for showers and all that sort of thing for that building, especially by April?
The owner of the building has been working with the city, the zoning and city places that he needs to get the building inspector and those elements.
You don't have enough water, okay? And the DOT is not going to allow you, be an enormous expense to run a 4-inch line through the highway. So you have to have enough water for that kind of occupancy.
So there's a good, please. There's a good question come up. Who owns the building? Do you own the building or are you leasing it from someone?
We're leasing the building.
Do you know who the owner is?
The owner is, I know who the builders are. Hill Acres.
I'm sorry?
Hill Acres.
Hill Acres?
Acre Hill.
Acre Hill.
Acre Hill LLC. His name is Michael John Rosano. I'll share it with you guys later this evening.
Hi, I first want to say that I really respect the work that you do, and I think it's really important. I also want to agree with the parent that says my children's safety is non-negotiable. My question is, since you qualify as an educational facility, will you be paying real estate taxes to the city of Westfield?
Yes, the owner of the building will be paying taxes to the city. It's part of our rent.
Okay, and how many incidents have occurred at similar CRJ facilities in the past year?
None.
And I noticed that nice young gentleman asked about school grounds and school facilities and school zone, and you said they won't be entering schools. But are they allowed to walk on the sidewalks in front of schools? Are they allowed to go to parks in our city?
They're allowed to go where their itinerary has been approved, so it'll be a bus stop. I can't say where the bus stops are here, I'm not exactly familiar.
All right, we have just enough time for these last 4 people.
I just want to say, for the first time when I heard the PD speak, it was the most confidence I had all night. I wanted to thank you for that. I appreciate you trying to relate to the person earlier when you talked about your grandkids, but in all honesty, like how many facilities are next to your grandkids' school? All right, it's rhetorical. You don't need to answer that, but you got to understand where this is coming from, right? The real question I have for you though is you talked about limits on where they can go, when they can go, stuff like that. How long are they allowed to be out of the facility? Are they allowed to make multiple stops? Like, what's the limit to their itinerary?
I'll let the program people talk.
Yeah, it is a case by case, depending on what their needs are and what they're trying to do, whether it's work, religion, treatments, you name it, housing. They will again vet what they're trying to do and request, and then make sure the times are they make sense for calling in, making sure that they're accounted for when they're going from point A to point B to point C. That's how.
There's no limit what time of hour they can be out. There's
No, there is a strict curfew. It's 9 to 5. 9 to 5 unless they have work or other cases like treatment or something like that
They're
outside.
allowed to be out from 9 to 5 all day.
No, not just haphazardly. Everybody has to have a strict itinerary to leave the building.
But if their itinerary says, I'm going to leave at 9, I'll be back at 5.
No, it would be specific. I'm leaving at 9 to go to my job, and I will be back at 3:30.
And then we check to make sure they're at those locations.
So when they get their mass approved breaks, how do you account for when they leave that work facility to go somewhere else?
They have to tell us. They have to call. They're not allowed to leave one spot to the next.
How are you proving that? They're calling.
We do random checks constantly, and we do call into the facilities on a regular basis.
I love that you guys constantly deflect and don't answer people's questions, like my brother's on what went through your mind to put the building right next to these schools.
Money.
Yeah, obviously, but yeah, I feel like, why do you keep deflecting all the questions and not answering them?
So our tax dollars are going towards this program, this correctional program. God forbid you use our tax dollars to protect our schools with law enforcement. I don't understand why that's not a thing. Also, I have a second question is, do we have a number of the population of this program? Like a certain number of people? You have like a
35 or more.
Well, there's up to
100, 500?
There's up to 32 beds for men and 6 beds for women. 40 people.
That doesn't mean there's gonna be always 40 here. It could be up to. There could be only
But
20.
it will not exceed that.
Will not exceed that.
All right, last question.
Hi again. First of all, I also applaud the police department being here. I know that Rob had mentioned earlier that we'd all prefer that you not be in this location. That being said, your lease is already in, and there's not a lot that we can say. You already understand that our disdain for your choice of location. That being said, my question to you is that we've heard a lot of, specifically from this end, a lot of, well, we're going to follow up on that, or there's repercussions for that. And as an educational facility, as a former teacher, I will say that I couldn't turn to parents and say, I'm going to teach your children the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to teach your children this without a structure, without some type of format, without some type of repercussions, without the school having a time that the children can have for passing period and accountability for tardies and things like that. So my question to you is, that next time that we come and we're going to have a conversation and hopefully a dialogue that will have been furthered with Westfield Police Department, with the schools, with the City Council, so that this can be clear to us what that structure looks like. For example, again, they can be out and they have a submitted schedule that they must submit. Give us that specific details. Tell us, these people are in this facility and they have to be signed up for this. If they don't show up by this time, these are the repercussions. Please don't tell us to trust this because you did not come to us initially to ask for your trust and to embrace this. You didn't come with the information for us to be able to not come to you being bitter, being upset, and being frustrated. So I ask you next time that you come with the information that you have answers to those questions so that we can actually embrace this program or not. Please come prepared to tell us those things.
Thank you, we will.
How long's your lease?
I do have to say, I am also a fellow Westfield resident. And your passion is what I absolutely love about this community. So thank you to everybody here. I really do appreciate your concern. Getting involved, civic involvement is so crucial. We're past time, but I do believe Councilors Fannin and Oniski just have some parting comments. Yes, no? All right, I think that's good. Oh, wait, Mr. Mayor's coming up. Hang on.
So let me give you a timeline. Let me tell you how it works. I don't have to be standing up here. I'm standing up here because it's my responsibility to do so. So just give me a second. If I could get there, I would. So what happened was in about September, CRJ came to us and they said that they were looking in the city of Westfield for a place to develop their project. They did not have a location. They didn't have any substance that went along with it. And then we ran into a little problem with some of the stuff went to the building department, which, as you know, right now is a bit of a disaster for the city of Westfield. So there were letters that were sent. Hold on. So there was a little bit of a disconnect. When Karen Fannin and I got together in January, give or take, January, early February, and we started pressing for this hearing, this one that you're having now, CRJ was under no obligation to have it. So we were at the behest of CRJ because we didn't have any leg to stand under zoning, and we didn't have any leg to stand under, you can listen if you want, and we didn't have any leg to stand under the educational proponent under the Dover Act. Because of that way, I believe Dave Collier was correct. I believe in fairness to them, that they chose a spot that they didn't have to have any permitting for. They didn't have to go to the planning board. They didn't have to go to the zoning board of appeals. They clearly did that. However, that said, the city of Westfield then didn't have the same ability to say yes or no to the project. What was supposed to have happened was we were supposed to have conversations with the public based on CRJ's schedule. As you could clearly hear from Councilor Fannin and Councilor Oniski and Deb herself, for some reason that didn't just happen. It was the city that went back to them and said, hey, it hasn't happened, we need it to happen. As recently as a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, CRJ withdrew their request to have a public hearing because they thought that this was going to be a bit of an anger fest, if you will. I get it. At that time, when I found out and I was notified, I immediately contacted Michael Ash, who is over here, who can verify what I'm telling you to be true. And Michael Ash actually went back to these folks and said, hey, look, you have a duty and obligation to be transparent to the folks that are here in the city of Westfield. You absolutely need to have this meeting so that we can get answers to the questions that we have. The questions that, quite frankly, I also have. However, the next step moving forward gets a little murkier. I have every faith in Captain Dickinson that he's going to do exactly what he said he was going to do. That he's going to follow up. He's going to follow up with City Council. He's going to follow up with CRJ. And he's going to follow up with the Mayor's office, which has been interesting that nobody's talked about the involvement of the Mayor's office. I don't know if that was by design or not by design, but that's the road that we have left to travel, and it happened because of the way that this plan was rolled out. Now, if you want to fire questions at me, I know there's not a lot of time, but I'm willing to stand here and listen to whatever you got. Go ahead, Mike, Mr. Jasmine.
I got a question.
Go.
You're about to dump 34 convicted felons into our area.
I am.
Not you, sir,
Okay.
but them.
Yep.
With all due respect. What is the city being provided for additional, that's an expenditure against the police budget?
So far nothing, but I think they hear you. I think this process gets that conversation started. So far nothing. I'll leave it at that. What's the next one?
Good answer.
I don't.
Angel.
What do we do to stop it?
Nothing.
So as State Rep Pease said, the only thing that you can do is file a lawsuit at the state. The educational requirement they're talking about came from a case that was decided, catch this number, in 1887. So this case law has been around for the better portion of 150 years. So unfortunately, I don't know that there is a lot to stop it. I simply don't know that answer. Kristen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The building has insufficient water for fire suppression.
That would have been nice to know before tonight, Kristen, to be honest with you.
In fact, there's insufficient water for fire suppression. There's insufficient water to feed and shower and do laundry and sanitation for 40 people. It's not on sewer. So what, in order for this to go off?
Kristen, I don't know the answer to your question. I just found that out today.
My question is, are we going to burden the Department of Public Works, the sewer funds, and the poor water department that's been hemorrhaging money for years in order to solve their problem? That's how I believe in the work. I believe you chose a really bad location. So, is it going to fall on us to pay for it? That's my question.
I don't have the answer to that question. I don't have the answer to that question. What I can tell you is I will have the answer to that question shortly. But truly, I just found out about it literally today. Rob Parent actually Rob will tell you. I just literally found out that question about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Go ahead.
I don't actually have a question, but I have a loud voice, and I did ask a question right when everything finished. I asked them how long their lease is. 5 years. They have a 5-year lease.
Okay.
I applaud your work, but I feel like you should be ashamed of where you're putting it. I'm sorry.
I'm going to let you go. I know that doesn't satisfy you, but I'm going to let you go at this point. Where's the moderator? You good? Steve, I trust in you. I know that you'll get it done. Thank you.